Hey, what's going on, guys? So have y'all ever tried Exodus Conquest? I'm sure most of y'all have, but I'd never really given it a fair shake until this past weekend. The pacing of Conquest very early on in Battlefield 2042's life cycle just didn't do it for me. So I sort of wrote Conquest off pretty quickly, and I've played Breakthrough ever since. However, after seeing, I think it was Ender's tweet that Exodus Conquest was where it's at, I thought I'd better give it a look. The whole reason I thought it was worth a look, though, stems from another issue. In today's video, I want to discuss why perhaps Breakthrough is starting to slip a bit and players are looking for some other way, like Exodus Conquest, to play the game. Breakthrough really has become a chore to play. Let's talk about why and offer a few solutions to this issue. But before I get into that, if you guys dig the videos and aren't subscribed, please take a moment to do so, and if you dig this video, then be sure to give it a like for me. Alright. Here we go. So Exodus Conquest this weekend slightly reminded me of the Battlefield 5 days in terms of team balance. There were multiple occasions where it was roll or be rolled, and those rounds just simply aren't fun. We all know that a nice balanced fight where the ticket counts come down to the wire end up being the best rounds, and I found that you do tend to get more of these in Exodus Conquest than I've seen in quite some time in 2042 Breakthrough. However, there were still several Exodus Conquest matches that were a pure lopsided mess, and I was usually on the side with the losing effort. So maybe call it 50-50, but that's better odds than what Breakthrough has been producing lately. Breakthrough is experiencing some problems in my opinion, and a lot of it stems from balancing problems from players like myself admittedly, who game the system and always roll for attack. Higher KD and upper level players tend to prefer offense in Breakthrough. It was that way in BF1 Grand Ops, Battlefield 5 Breakthrough, and now 2042 Breakthrough. It is for me at least. At the start of 2042, I quickly realized you could learn which faction was on the attacking side for each map, and then look for that each time you queued for a game of Breakthrough, ensuring that you always land on the attacking side. And that was awesome early on. In fact, I even made a video here on YouTube about it. However, as the game has matured and more upper level and knowledgeable players have learned this trick, the blessing of it has quickly turned into a curse, and Breakthrough is becoming extremely imbalanced. We used to joke around that Breakthrough was unplayable on defense early on, but that was more from our own personal dislike for that side of the equation and our preference for offense. Now, though, it really truly is unplayable, except for only the most patient and laid-back individuals. With every quote-unquote good and top-tier player queuing for attack, it's made playing Breakthrough incredibly annoying. If you do land on offense, then the attacking side tends to quickly win the round. Mileage may vary, of course, but pretty typically when the attacking side loses, it comes down to bad map/layout design from DICE. Think the final flags on Kaleidoscope and Exposure. They're awful and poorly designed fortresses that even low skill level players can defend to win the round. And perhaps our efforts of trying to only play attack are the reason DICE has decided to create the layouts this way in the first place. If you land on defense, you're obviously on the opposite end of the players I just mentioned who are queuing for attack, which, let's be honest, is not a good place to be. It's essentially like saying you want to play against stacks all day and have an awful time. Problem is, you're more than likely going to land on defense because each time a new server or map is spun up, the attacking sides are filled quickly by players hunting for only attack, which leaves everyone else getting the awful experience that is defense. So what can be done about this issue? Well, one method, as much as I hate to say it for my own personal preferences, DICE could remove the thing that shows you which side you're loading into on a server. This would make it less possible for players to essentially imbalance the round before it starts because they only want to queue attack. And don't get me wrong, this would be an absolutely painful way for them to do it, but it's going to leave only the most dedicated attack queuers still trying to do it because they'll have to load all the way into a server to see which side they're on and then back out if they don't like it, like the old server browser days. This would be made more painful by the fact that there isn't actually a server browser in this game. So when you back out and hit Q again, there's a pretty good likelihood you're going to land right back where you just left. By making this change, DICE would essentially beat the queuing for attack out of players through massive amounts of wasted playtime and force them to settle for defense. This could result in matches having a more even skill distribution, or it could just cause people to quit playing altogether. If you're an above 2 KD player and happen to see this video, then perhaps it may be time for us all to start accepting playing defense. I think we need to stop the attack queuing and let the game put us where it will. We would all start playing against each other again, and as a result, this could help balance the teams a bit more and make Breakthrough more enjoyable for all of us. This is a change we could make ourselves as players without waiting for DICE to either force us to do this or make large-scale changes to the game mode, which we know they're not going to do. So the method I just mentioned about removing the thing that shows you which side you're queuing into, well, that deals with adding more resistance to the player, which I'm no game designer, but seems like a poor way to go about it. Let's try to avoid making the game harder to play. So what could DICE do to incentivize staying on the defensive side a bit more? Well, to put it plainly, they have to figure out a way to make defense not an absolute chore to play. Put the team switch functionality back in. I know some players that would gladly switch teams to help produce a longer-lasting, more fulfilling game. Sure, there's going to be idiot losers who just switch to the winning side because they actually care about stats for some reason, but some players will surprise you and switch over to help balance the game and make it a bit better for everyone. If you can't do team switch, then some form of mid-round balancer could be a thing too, but I doubt DICE has the tech for that. Even out the vehicles. There's too many mismatches between offensive and defensive vehicles. As Enders mentioned in his recent video, there are sectors where the attacking side has all these different, very capable vehicles to farm the defensive side, and ironically, the defense has no way to defend itself. Add some symmetry back to the available vehicles and give them the ability to counter each other. These are only a few options, I know, but I don't really know what else to do besides letting players govern themselves, or essentially punishing them for queuing attack by making them go back to the main menu if they're dumped into defense. Balance has always been an issue in Battlefield as far as I know. I know for sure it was a problem in Battlefield 5. The latter half of that game's life cycle, it truly was roll or be rolled, and DICE offered very little solutions to the issue, so I would expect the problem to repeat with 2042. I think Breakthrough is probably my favorite game mode conceptually, but right now there is just a ton of friction associated with playing it. So this video ended up being a lot more similar to Ender's Breakthrough video than I anticipated or wanted, but I do echo his sentiments about Breakthrough, so I'll go ahead and post the video to add another voice into the void that is community recommendations for this game. So what are your thoughts on this topic? Do you have any solutions to the Breakthrough problem that DICE could maybe implement to help make the game a better experience for both sides? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you watching, and best of luck out there on the battlefield.